All right, can people hear me from home or should I move? Sherry's, oh good, okay, fabulous. Okay, let me do this, let me do a couple things. Boy, I feel really out of practice here. It's been, I'm just looking for, and there's Jody Jackson on Zoom. Okay. Gosh, I feel totally out of practice. It's been a while. Hi, everybody. Welcome, everybody at home. Welcome, all of you guys here at Kent. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just a reminder, everybody in the room, let's just do a double check of our cell phones. I'm checking mine. Make sure the sound's off. If everybody can just do a double check. No phones, no vaping in the room here. If you need to go potty at any point, you could just right underneath the deck there, sliding glass doors to the left. If you're new tonight, coffee and tea in the back. Hopefully you guys grab some. If you need a refill, please fill. And lemon cake by Kendall, thank you. So definitely eat some of that. And welcome all of you guys at home. So we've had a huge month. Holy smokes. We just came off of the most incredible events. Here for the last several months, we've been like prepping and all you guys have been helping. We just had our biggest events of the year on the 7th of November. Thank you, all of you. Oh my gosh, holy smokes. We always worry as we get closer. We're always like, oh my gosh, we're not gonna have anything to, donate, to like put in the basket auctions. We're not gonna have anybody there. Nobody's coming. And oh my gosh, every year it's so silly that we worry about this kind of thing because we had so much and all y'all came. It was our most attended event ever. It was fantastic. We're still all the final numbers and expenses and all that coming in, but it looks to be our top. It looks to have been our top one. We will know those official numbers from the accountants and all that here soon. But whoa, Tiffany, are you here? Let's have Tiffany join us here. She is back in Virginia. She joined us every year. She flies in for this event. She was out here for like 6 weeks, so hopefully all of you got to meet Tiffany, but she's back on the East Coast now, but she's joining us tonight to say a few words too of just appreciation and whatnot, and we have a drawing to do. So Tiffany, hi.
Hi everyone. Oh, getting some feedback. Okay. So thank you so much. We had an incredible turnout, not just in ticket holders, but in volunteers and support. So thank you. I don't even feel like thank you is enough. I am just so excited. We had so many young people in recovery helping us, so many families, moms and dads. I mean, let me tell you, we could not put on an event like we did without you. So thank you. So what we wanted to do is we did a post-event survey. So I hope you got that. If you didn't, check your email. We could give you a QR code if you want it. What we want to do is we want to get better every year. And so we hear from you. We know the parking was an issue, but it's okay if you tell us that it was an issue. Tell us how it was an issue. We can talk to Muckleshoot about that. We're going to get better. But we want to refine our processes. So we did a post-event survey. We had 58 responses, so almost 13% of people who were in attendance, which is awesome. And we wanted to draw from those who sent us their email address that responded. So I'm going to try to show this so I can't share my screen, but this is what I'm using. This is a number picker. Sorry, a random number picker. I'm going to spin. There were 20 people. I just want to make sure that you all feel that this is, real and honest. And it's going to pick the number for us. It is spinning on number 2 is what it looks like. Can you all see that? Maybe slowly, surely. Number 2. Ange, do you have it? I have it if you don't.
That's Johnny Evans' wife. We will give her a call and say congratulations, Danielle
Awesome.
Evans. She gets the Titus Will car detail. What was the value of that? Was
like a lot.
Yeah, it was a
$100.
good detail.
Yeah.
It was like a good
Yeah.
detail.
We couldn't cheat that one and get it ourselves.
Yeah. No cheating. We saw it live.
Yeah.
That's why we do these picker things. Okay.
Run things by me before you give away shit. Seriously, our car's so dirty out there.
Let me tell you, we had some incredible auction items that came through. I hope you all saw that. I hope you all got to partake in it. Yeah, sorry, Art, we didn't talk to you beforehand, but that was a really cool thing just for you all giving us your feedback.
Oh, you know what?
All right. Anything else, Becky, Bill, that I'm forgetting as far as that goes that needs to be said right now? I don't think so. I'm good. Oh, Mom.
Nothing.
Well, mention tomorrow morning. It's going to be an extra special mob tomorrow morning because we haven't done a mob for a while. We really missed y'all. Mob is the Moms of Battlefield. It's all the ladies every Wednesday following solution group. So every week that we have a solution group, we join for an hour, 11 a.m. on Wednesday mornings, have our coffee together on Zoom. And it's just really our opportunity to get to know each other more, talk about the topic from the night before and whatnot. And we've just really missed you, moms. So hopefully you all can join us for 1 hour. I know everybody's busy prepping for Thanksgiving, but we'll just stick to an hour because I know we got lots to do to race off to. But just 1 hour that we can touch base in the morning would be fantastic before the holidays. So join us tomorrow morning. And that's it from me. We will turn it over to ours.
Ange, real quick, anything about next week that we wanted to mention? Next Tuesday.
Oh, Giving Tuesday. Next, yes, next Tuesday. Giving Tuesday is a national movement, one day a year. You know how like it's Black Friday and then it's Cyber Monday. Well, Giving Tuesday started as the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, as the day that you give back to a charity. All across the world, they do this. And so of course, Battlefield being a 501c3, it's a way to encourage, giving on that. So keep Battlefield in mind, follow us on Facebook for all the fun posts, and we ask just share them to your friends. That would be great. Let's get some circulation going. And really, the thing about a campaign like that, it draws people to a track that need us. There's still so many people out there that don't even know that Battlefield exists. They're struggling. They have a loved one struggling with addiction. They don't even know that we're even here to call. And so a campaign like that, those shares are really helpful in that, in attracting. Yeah.
I have a question,
Mhm.
because I always do, like, for my birthday, the birthday fundraiser, a lot of people do. So how can I do that and have it be Giving Tuesday at the same time?
Is it your birthday?
December 4th is her birthday.
Second.
Oh.
It's your fourth?
Second.
Second.
It's my
Excellent.
fourth birthday, yes.
It's your what?
Yeah, once a decade.
So December 2nd and then December 3rd
Yeah.
is your, well, I don't know. I combining the two on Facebook
Okay.
somehow.
Well, I think Facebook, because Facebook itself runs that, because
Right.
I do that, and then I have my eBay, 10% of my eBay whenever I sell something, people, but they offered it to me for my birthday, which was just the other day, and they already
I got one
message
too.
you and say, so do that. And then do your own thing for Giving Tuesday separate, because Facebook is offering that to us, as a
Right.
separate entity. I think we can double dip.
But Giving Tuesday, though, doesn't Facebook match?
They haven't been doing that.
They haven't been doing
No.
that, so I don't need to worry about
So
that.
yeah, I don't.
All right, so
Yeah.
everybody heard it here.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's
And
a,
if there is
a non-issue
it
this
yet,
time.
Becky, you know what, we have a whole crew of people here, we'll figure it out. You start it, we'll help you fill it out.
Yes,
Thank you.
But for your birthday, yes.
Right,
Do the birthday one, because
I'll do that.
That works really well, most of the time.
All right. All right. We're ready to go.
Wonder if that
yeah,
cat's.
pretty much, just so.
We might have to put Harriet out. No, she got it. Pet her, Ryan. Don't let her, yeah. We have saw a picture of my son today. We put it up. He's still cooking. It doesn't look like he's already done yet. It's like, there's still some work to be done in there. Either he's flipping everyone off. Looks like he might.
He's
I think he-
probably moving.
I think he's tired of not helping people and he's bored. But when I see my son today, I've been spending a lot of time, I don't know if people really know the war that we're in and what's happened in our society and really what's led to where we're at and I don't know if anyone knows the work that goes into what we do around here and exactly what the work is. And but today I thought a lot about, well, how am I going to love my son and what would it mean to love him and what kind of love would that be? And one of the things that just kept coming up is that I hope I'm healthy enough to do it. I mean, not physically, but mentally, to be able to provide my son with all the pain that he needs. And help him find wisdom in that pain. Help him to not get his way. And I really want everyone that's surrounding my son to also not let him get his way. I'd like a community of people to help me to raise this little boy and to have him not get his way. And the love that'll come around us from teaching him how difficult it can be when you not get your way. And then what would come up, for my son, hopefully, is that he would learn to experience kind of what we're all dealing with in this kind of incapability that we've all had to deal with pain. And how as human beings, we've seemed to adapt to these external measures to get rid of our pain. And we don't have a place that we go when we're in pain, and pain becomes this, so then I'm going to start with the secrets. Like with my son, I think there were secrets I would tell him about you humans, that just me and him would know. And I would tell him about these things that I've learned by helping humans. And the first thing I would tell my son is like what type of human a human being is. Like, we can look at the cat and we can look at the dogs and we can see what type of being a cat, we can see what type of being a dog is, because we can look at that kind of being and we can always know what they want. So you can look at a dog and you can look at a cat and you can tell exactly what it wants. There's really no disguise of what it wants. When it wants to be petted, it nudges you or headbutts you and puts his paw on you, and it wants to be petted. When it wants food, it meows or it barks or it drags you to the bowl. And Barkley likes to pick up his bowl and drop it in front of you and say, please feed me. And, we kind of always know. And then little baby Bark, he grabs the ball. He wants to play with the ball. And there's no disguise about what it is that this being wants. Well, see, I think a human being is a different type of being, because what I would tell my son that human beings really want is that they really want to be loved, they really want to matter, and they really want to be validated. So what that means is they want to feel that they matter in an ability to make a difference in the world, in their environment, in their families. They want to matter. And I tell them that son, you're going to want to matter. You're going to want to make a difference. The next thing I would tell them is that you're going to want to experience love, that you're going to want to experience love. But I'm going to tell my son, it's not people loving you. That's not what you experience. What I want you to be able to experience is loving other people. And there's going to be things in the way of that. And I need to teach you about that. And so the next thing that I'm going to say is that you're going to want to be validated, meaning you're going to want what's inside you, your ideas, your thoughts, your work. You're going to want to put it out in the world, and you're going to want it deemed good. And see, I think human beings want what's inside them to be deemed good by the world. They also want to be loved, and they also want to matter. And I think that's the type of being a human being wants. But the difference between a human being and a dog is a human being, and I'm going to tell my son, see, a human being will never admit those things. A human being will never admit they want love. A human being will never admit that they want to be validated. See, a human being says shit like, I don't care what people think about me. A human being says things like, other people's opinion of me don't matter. A human being says, I don't care if nobody loves me. It's no big deal. A human being thinks that it's on the world to connect with them and not to express themselves. So a human being is kind of like a clever strategy. See, because a human being is this being that wants to be loved, wants to be validated, but won't admit it. So now what happens with human beings is they do all this crazy stuff to be loved and validated and matter, but they don't know they want to be loved, validated, and matter. So then we have a default system as a human being. So then what we do is we try to matter, be loved, and be validated by looking good. So now what we have is human beings that want those things, but in reality, what they default to is two things. So the type of being a human being is that doesn't know that they want these things. They become a clever strategy, and the strategy is twofold. Number one, to look good. Any way I can look good. Any way I think looks good, that's what I'm going to do. And then number two, a human being is about fairness. So when we default and we don't know, and we're an unconscious human being and we don't know ourselves, we become about two things. We become about justice and looking good. So you see what the humans are up to. I'm going to tell him, see, son, they're all up to something. They don't know they're up to it, but they're all trying to look good. And they're trying to look good because they're trying to get love, but they won't admit that they want love. And they're trying to look good because they want to matter. So they do crazy shit, son. They buy shoes. They get haircuts. They get different clothes. They say they work and make money and try to say, world, love me. They tell jokes. They do everything they can do to try to get love, but they won't admit that they want the world to love them. It's crazy, son. And also they want to be validated. They want what's deemed good inside, what's inside them to be deemed good by the world, but they're too scared to do it. They stop putting what's inside them out in the world. They stop saying ideas. And what they do is they start saying, oh, it doesn't matter to me, and I'll keep it to myself, and I'll be quiet, and everyone. And what happens now, son, is pain shows up. Because people really want love, they want to be validated, and they want people to deem what's inside them good. What happens is that doesn't happen very easily. It's hard. And so what happens is pain shows up. And when pain shows up, people start doing something. And so now in this world, it's very hard. If you look around in our society, people used to have a lot of ways to express themselves, a lot of way to be deemed good, a lot of way to validate themselves, but the times are tough and things are getting harder and harder and pain is prevalent. And so now I tell my son, what's happened now, son, is people are now being validated by the complaints that they have. So now what the system is I'm going to have failure in my life and I'm going to look good because it's not going to be my fault. I'm going to be able to pronounce what is bad and announce to the world what is bad and deem other people's behavior bad. And I'm going to actually let myself off the responsibility of getting these things. See, because when I complain about the way life is, that's me relieving my pain. And that's me saying my life is not my fault. And not only is my life not my fault, somebody else is causing my life to be not my fault. And worse than that, I'm now trying to get validated because I got it worse than everyone else. And so what's happened is we've become a society of people that can no longer get validation proper. That all think that that it isn't about loving the world, it's about the world loving them. And so now you see people trying to get the world should love them and not the other way around, was you should love the world. See, I don't want anyone to give my son special treatment or do anything like that. I want him to learn to love you. It ain't on you. It's on my son. It's on my son to see what's in the way of connection and love. And this whole nonsense, son, about everybody thinking drug addicts need more connection. It's nonsense. Drug addicts need to learn to connect with the world. It's their fault. And until they get past their pain and stop protecting themselves with their complaints and stop feeling like a victim, they're not going to be able to look at that. They're not going to be able to connect with the world because no matter who tries to connect with them, you victimize them. And let's get it straight here about what's really going on with this responsibility thing. See, we say this word responsibility and we say victim, but we don't really know what it means. So I got to teach my son about responsibility because you might think responsibility is paying bills. You might think that's responsibility. You might think you're a responsible human because you pay your bills. But that's not responsibility. That gets you things. Paying your bills gets you cable. Paying your bills gets you a car. That has nothing to do with responsibility. What the deepest level of responsibility means I'm responsible for handling my pain. I'm responsible for how I feel. Nobody on this planet will ever be responsible for how my son feels. I'm going to love him powerfully and he's going to feel how he feels. And if he's in pain, that's on him. And he's going to have to learn that pain, that's between him and God, that he's going to have to trust this thing. And nobody better take my son's pain away. And so what's happened in our society is we've been validated by our complaints. And that used to not work. In the 80s, that didn't work. In the 90s, it didn't work. But something happened. There became an audience. There became an audience for this empowerment of not responsible. So now we're empowered by irresponsible, and there became an audience that listens. And now, so when we have a problem in a relationship, you know what it is in this war? Everyone that comes to me has a relationship problem, but everyone's not at fault. Everyone. Every single person that I deal with has a relationship problem, and nobody yet has ever been at fault, son. Every single person has a relationship issue, and nobody needs to change, son. That's the humans I know. That's the ones I deal with. Can you imagine that? Not one time has somebody been able to, son, I look at myself and I see why I need to change. See, because all the relationships that I deal with shows up like a complaint. So now my relationships show up like a complaint because I don't feel responsible for the relationship. And I'm not a responsible human, but I say I am because I pay my bills. And so pain this idea that my son is going to have to handle pain so he can stay responsible for his relationships, so he can connect with people and never let himself off the hook. And I'm going to develop that really early on, because he's not going to get his way. It's not just going to be something that goes, and I hope I'm able to keep to my word, and I hope everyone is. But what I never want for my son is an audience. When he tells you something isn't his responsibility, never listen. Never say, never be responsible. Please don't do that with my son. If he tells you got it bad, don't listen. He's not handling his pain and he's venting it on you. And so the way I'm going to love this kid is I'm going to teach him how to properly be validated by this world. And you know how we're validated? We're validated by getting by self-expression. We do something good and we give it to the world, and people say good and some people say bad, but you put it out there and you risk it. And that stopped happening. That's how you get validated. And the way you get love is you love others. That's the way you get love. Love isn't something you feel when other people are giving it to you. It's when you actually love someone else. That's the experience of love. When you love something, that's the experience of love. When something loves you, it's nothing to you. You could care less. In fact, I bet there's people in here that have been loved so deeply that it turned them off. That you said, get away from me. You're creeping me out. I don't like that you love me. And it turned you off, so you went the other way. So you start understanding that love actually doesn't do anything for us. It's actually the experience of giving it. And what's blocking us from giving it is our complaints. And why our complaints is there is because we don't feel responsible. And why our complaints are there is because we experienced a little pain because it didn't go our way. Because lo and behold, you can't just look out at the world and tell it how it should be and have it be that way. You actually have to figure out what you want from the world and become the human being that can get it. And in order for him to do that, in order for him to connect with this world, see, we have this really, really dangerous group, and the war that I'm in is not with the people who are, I'm not in a war with people who are struggling. I'm not. I'm in a war with the people that don't help keep them responsible for their life. I'm in a war with the people that say, oh, too bad for you. You're not responsible. You didn't have it good. See, there's a myth that we're not all getting the same amount of pain around here. That in this world, somebody's getting maybe an unfair amount has been putting on another human. See, I don't see it that way. And that's the myth, is that this human is getting an unfair amount of pain put on them, and they deserve our sympathy. Rather than saying, gosh, look at the wisdom in that. Look at the wisdom in our pain. Look at where all growth comes from. Look at what a powerful person can be that handles pain. Look at what we can do when pain is put upon us. What can we turn that into? Instead, at the first sight of pain, we're telling people, let's help you take it away. Oh, they must need a Xanax. They must need some pills. They must need something. They've got an unfair amount of pain. Not with my son. I'm going to love him in a different way. I'm going to provide for it in a wise way. I'm going to have this little kid experience not getting his way over and over and over and over again until he's durable. Until he can look out at the world and love it and not have to protect himself from it because something didn't go his way. See, to love people, you got to keep going. To love people, you got to go out past your pain. When you love people, it's just right on the other side of complaint. But we don't get to the other side of complaint. So to love the world, it's right on the other side of complaint. It's where you decide that you have to give this pain up, come up with a new strategy, and reapproach the relationship. That's where love is. Right on the other side of complaint. But how many of us get on the other side of complaint? See, complaint ends the relationship because I'm off the hook because I say they need to change. They need to change. And I'm not going to give everything until they change. I'm not going to do anything until they change. And so this is what we deal with here. And I'm telling them about this. I'm going to tell them about what it is, how people get where they got. How did we get this irresponsible? How did we get validated by our hardships? And worse than our hardships, validated by our failures in relationships. Validated. How does a man go talk to his friend about his wife and say, my wife is horrible, I love her? Where's his responsibility? When did we start this process of constant venting, constant pain release, this whole innocent bystander thing in relationships. You see, that's all I deal with is the innocent. I never get to talk to the guilty. Just the innocent after the innocent after the innocent. I didn't do it, Art. I'm perfect. It's my loved one that behaves wrong. I didn't do it, Art. I'm perfect. It's my loved one that behaves wrong. And I sit here in the war. And then I try to apply pressure to each person and say, hey, maybe, possibly, you would want to come up here above yourself and look at you. And see how you're causing these things in your relationships, and look and see how you're actually playing a role in it. And then everyone says, no, 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 no. Art, you're crazy. Don't make me experience any pain. And then they call me crazy. They call me crazy when I tell human beings that they're responsible for their relationship. People call me crazy. Not only do they call me crazy, they gaslight me. And they say, don't ever tell me, Art, you're not listening to my sad story. I will go find an audience for my sad story. And after I find an audience, we will ally against you. And we will make sure everybody knows you're a bad person. I say crazy things like you should make your bed. I say crazy things like your relationships are your fault. I say crazy things like you should look at your own behavior. I say these crazy things and people tell me my character is flawed. People say, Art, you're the bad guy. Not only that, they look for an audience. See, when you watch a community like this, let's say a housing program or whatever that I'm watching, what you need to understand is there's only one way we get sick. There's only one way this community gets sick. The way the community gets sick is somebody feels victimized. They feel like they were treated wrong. Well, see, that doesn't get the community sick because we can deal with that. So what gets the community sick? The audience. So what gets my community sick is that we have people who will listen to somebody say that. We have people that will listen rather than go, no, no, man, we don't want to hear it. Don't say that around here. You're trying to say your life isn't your fault. We don't want to hear it. Get out of here. But instead they get an audience, and then that starts the sickness because that leaves doubt. That leaves doubt. Well, maybe Art is responsible for everyone's life. Maybe Big Bad Art did do all this. Maybe he's causing all our pain. Maybe he's holding us back. Oh yeah, let's make him the enemy. Let's turn on him. So that's how we get sick. We get sick in one, and that's how our society's sick. You see, we got a group of people down in Seattle, and it's sick. It's sick not because of the group of people in Seattle. That's not the sickness. The sickness is the audience. The audience that says they're less than us. The audience says they can't make it. They're not strong. The audience says somehow the system is failing these people. And so now we're putting all the responsibility on the system, none on them. And that's how we got sick. Not because we have people that are suffering. We got sick because we have an audience that believes in a lack of responsibility of a human being. That audience will listen and say, oh man, your life's not your fault at all. That sucks. Everything is somebody else's fault. And that audience now in this state, that audience has grabbed all the powers. That's where the funding is going. So you see what's happened, and this is what happens and how a community gets sick or a housing place gets sick or a family gets sick. It gets sick because do your part somehow doesn't become our motto. Every human doing their own part somehow fails us and it doesn't become our motto. And now my part becomes doing the part of another. And now we don't teach those people to do their part, but rather we get sick because we direct all the money to the people that are doing it for them. And so now we're in the mess. And so for me, I see this war. My war has gotten worse than ever. It's harder than ever right now to help people because people are empowered by their complaints. People are empowered by their lack of responsibility. People are empowered to say, Art, you believe my life is my fault? I will find an audience to tell you otherwise. I will find people that tell me that I've been victimized. I will find people that tell me my life ain't my fault, and I'll find them and we'll go against you. And not only that, Art, we'll cancel you. We'll make sure nobody hears you talk because you're crazy. You're saying crazy things. And so now we have all this group of people that somehow panders to this. And guess what? Everyone in this room that's tried to hold your loved one accountable, you went up against your opposition. And your opposition was never the person that you were trying to help. Your opposition was the people that listened to their story. Your opposition was the people that listened to say they've somehow been traumatized, that they've been hurt. That's who you went up against. And guess what? When your kid was suffering and they're on the streets, those people are never there. See, because you cannot help a human being at all, ever, with anything else but responsibility. You can't. You cannot help another human being with anything else but responsibility. If you think you can help a human being with a kind ear, good luck. Good luck. Just listen with that kind ear and see what it does. Nothing. It moves the dial nowhere. Because the only thing that moves the dial of a human being getting better is more responsibility for their behavior and life and actions. And anyone that has gotten better knows that. So now what we face is these kind ears that are killing us, that are absolutely listening. Now mark you, none of these kind ears will ever take someone into their home, because it'll take about 5 days before they kick that person out. And you all understand that because you've been there. So we've gotten to a place in our society and everywhere where somehow people believe that failure is validating. That of course, where I'm at in life doesn't matter. What matters is it ain't my fault. It doesn't matter that I live on the streets. It matters the story that I tell. And the story that I tell, rather than the story of what a success I am, rather than the good things that come out of my life, rather than everything that I've done to achieve, none of that matters that I don't have achievements. None of that matters that I don't have success. None of it matters that I'm not a survivor. What matters is it ain't my fault. So now we go listen to the people while they tell us, okay, all this isn't your fault. What good is that? Now, maybe a lot of it ain't their fault. That could be very true. It just doesn't work in getting better. There's nowhere to go. See? Because the only way it starts to get better is when they say, oh, I got to change. But we leave people in perpetuity with a kind ear telling us how everyone else in their life needs to change. And they tell us over and over, everyone has screwed me over. Everyone has done wrong. This is where I'm at. And this is our opposition. My opposition is a kind ear. That's what I'm up against. My opposition is an audience for failure. My opposition is people that will allow someone to tell you that their relationship isn't their fault, that their life isn't their fault, that their feelings aren't their fault, that somehow they've been giving a disproportionate amount of pain and they have a monopoly on it. So I have a hope, and I've been anticipating, I can't wait to sink my teeth into my son. I can't wait to get that little guy right in front of me and tell him about the world and tell him how people end up that can't handle pain. Talking about how people end up that don't self-express. How people end up when they start protecting themselves from life with their complaints and their victimization and their irresponsibility. And how people end up when they don't understand that to love is on you. That really look at this. How are you going to sit there and wait for someone to love you? And what experience would happen if that happened? And how are you going to sit there and wait for somebody to connect with you? How would that happen? So I'm going to tell them how to connect, and I'm going to tell them how to love, and how to love is to get rid of your complaints. And how to connect is to get rid of your complaints and get to know people. And how to connect is to take responsibility, to understand that when you enter into a relationship, it's going to be tough. People ain't going to act how you want them to act, son. And you're going to face pain, but don't complain about the people. See that as an opportunity for your responsibility in the relationship. Be a strategic, wise human. Look on the other side of the complaint about the person. Look right there. Find your way to the other side. Find your way to the place of power where it's just you and God, and ask God one question. How do I be? God, how do you want me to be with these humans? What do you want me to be like? And God will answer him. He'll say, never be spiteful, never be vengeful, never be a victim. Be powerful. He'll answer. So when you're having these difficulties and the complaints are showing up and you're not responsible and you're trying to let yourself off the hook, be powerful. Go to a place and ask God, how do I want, God, I'm mad at my mother. How do you want me to be with my mother? God, I'm mad at my family. How do you want me to be with my family? God is not going to say defensive, irritable, restless, angry. That's not the answer you're going to get. You see, so I want my son to have a place to go to be with his pain. And he can't be alone with it because it's too much. And he's going to want to vent, and he's going to want to complain, but he's going to have to talk to God and ask him how to be. And it's just going to be him in that little powerful place that I'm going to teach my son to go. And I'm going to say, talk to your higher power, son. Talk to the better parts of yourself. Be right there and ask yourself, how does this world want me to be? And if you do that, son, you're going to be a powerful human being and you're going to be capable of changing the world. And I didn't make it, son. I didn't make it to change the world, but I gave my best effort and I'm going to leave it for him. And in order to do that, I'm going to teach him how to handle pain. And I'm going to teach him to connect with folks that don't treat him right. And I'm going to teach him to connect with folks that might not actually love him, but he's going to love them. And he's going to practice calmness and peace. And he's going to be able, and I'm going to, from a young age, don't let him get his way. Because if you let him go wah and get his way, we're done. Because now wah is going to be his strategy. And how many people sitting in this room have wah as a strategy? A lot of us. In our own little way, we all have it. We all got taught it. We all got taught, all I got to do is wah at the world and somehow it's going to help me out. It's just not true. You see? I'm not going to ever let him know that's true. So you give me that little whine, you get nothing, son. You look at me powerfully and you ask me, you'll get something from me. You tell me the truth, you'll get something from me. But you're not getting it with that little whine. Never happening. I'm not giving in. And see, I hope to be able to do this, but it depends upon my health. That's what it depends upon. It depends on my mental strength. It depends upon if I'm tired and I want to give in. I'm tired and I just want to give him the tablet, let him have it. It depends on how my ability to let him be mad at me in wisdom. But I don't know how much I'll be able to take. But the amount that I'm going to be able to take is the better he'll be. And the more I can take and the more wisdom I can be with him and I can love him in his pain and I can see him in his pain and I can let him be there before it gets serious. Before he starts using drugs, before something happens, before he starts being entitled. Now we're in trouble. So I got to stop it before that. I want him to be in 6th grade and I want the teacher to say, no one's going out for recess. And I want every other kid to whine and I want my son to say, nice, difficulty. Thank you, teach. And I want him to lead the other kids and say, calm down, guys. I know you didn't get your way, but that's just the way life goes. And I hope I can teach him that. I hope he learns. And that's how I'm going to love him. And I feel that love so deeply already when I look at the picture. And right now, I want him to experience pain. I do. Right now, I'm not sitting saying, oh, little Art's comfortable in there. No. I hope he's learning to handle pain. Because that's what he's going to get in this world. And I hope he can take more than his fair share so he can help others. And that's what we do when we're a helping person. We take more than our fair share. We get it dumped on us. So we see what happened. And I want you to know that your own health really constitutes your ability to actually stand up to people that are saying their life isn't their fault. And the healthier you get, the less you'll want to listen. And the more sick you'll get, the more you'll want to collaborate with people who say their life isn't their fault. We have cliques here in our program. We have the people that feel their life is their fault and their feelings are their fault. And then we have people that don't feel that and they group together. And that's how it works. And the people that feel their life isn't, their feelings aren't their fault and their life aren't, they don't like art. Lo and behold. And the people that feel like their feelings are their fault and they want to be held responsible, they love art. Lo and behold. And the ones that feel their feelings aren't their fault, they use me as another target to be victimized. And that's fine, because I can take my fair share of pain. The only thing I need is that they don't have an audience. And if they don't have an audience, I can love them with wisdom in their pain right there, and there's a chance to make them better. But as soon as somebody comes along, an enabler, an audience to say, oh, poor you. Who deserves that? You look at how many times we've given that to people, but who deserves it? When we look closely at this person, and you try to be with this person that says their life and their feelings aren't their fault, just try to be with them for a little while. You'll figure it out. You'll figure out how they got where they got. You'll figure out the difficulty they're having in their relationships. But if you stay away and just see them on the weekend and pour them and buy them a sandwich and give them a kind ear, yeah, you'll probably never get to know why they have so much difficulty. And you'll probably just listen. But if you ever try to make a difference with them, you ever try to get them to matter in their life, you ever try to, help them get better, well, you'll have to tell them terrible things. You'll have to tell them that possibly, maybe, their behavior has done some of this. And when you do, they'll turn against you. So all the people in Seattle right now that have people going down and giving them a kind ear, just wait. Just wait till those kind ears try to tell them that part of their life is their fault. Just wait. Then now the person will become the perpetrator and the victim will say, you're bad now. And I don't know if you guys understand what's happened in the recovery community or what's happened in the world, but it is getting to the point where human beings are getting too sick to treat. Treatment no longer works. And the reason it no longer works is because people don't have one shred, because every failure in their life they've used as an opportunity to be a victim. They've used as an opportunity to say it wasn't my fault. And they don't have one little piece of ground to stand on where anything they've ever done has been their responsibility. That they are windsock to the world, and they are only where they're at because the world did it to them. And now we have no ability to help those people, because when you apply a little bit of pressure, you become the bad guy instantly. And so now in a different world, back in the day when I first started helping people, the things I could say, the things I could do, oh, it was a different world. And people weren't this sick. But now I have to walk on eggshells. I have to kindly say, well, maybe the fact that everyone else, maybe the fact that everyone else is up doing chores and you're sitting there watching, staring at your phone, makes you an asshole. Maybe you're an asshole. And maybe you sit and watch everyone do everything for you because you're an asshole. And maybe you're an asshole because you've lived in a house and you've never cleaned the bathroom or done anything to get that job done, and you pee in it every day. And maybe you're an asshole to think that, you can just leave your room disgusting and then go and nobody's going to care. And maybe you're an asshole for not, actually thinking. I like when people come to the groups and they go, oh, I don't really like that group, or I don't like that group. And what did you do? Did you participate? No, it's not up to me to make anything better, Art. It's up to me to sit in judgment of everything. So what I do is I sit and judge you, and then I'll tell you if you did good or not. See, there's a way for us to be a treatment center owner and never own a treatment center. We just critique it. For me, I'm a great restaurant owner. Just so you know, I'm better than any restaurant owner that's ever existed. You see, so I just go to the restaurant and I critique it. Well, I would do it like this if I owned a restaurant. I would do it like this. If the service here is atrocious. If it were my restaurant, well, Art, do you own a restaurant? No. Do you know anything about owning a restaurant? No. But I'm better than the restaurant owner because I can complain about it. You see, I've made myself superior to him. So I'm better than everyone real instantly because I can complain. As soon as I can complain about something, I'm better than it. I don't ever have to participate or join or try. Everyone's better at helping people than me. Ask them. They just complain about the way I do it. So they say, hey, Art, if it was my program, I would do it like this. And then I go, but you're in the program. Where is your program? Well, I don't have a program. Well, you should get one. You should get one and show me how to do it. You're so smart. So we've developed a way to participate with the world with never getting on the court, with never self-expressing ourselves. We just sit back and judge. And we critique. You know how many people, and including me, I do this. You know how many people are great parents that have never been a parent?
Everyone.
The greatest parents in the world have never been parents. You all know this if you're a parent. The smartest, greatest parent. Every kid that has parents thinks they're a parent. They think that they can sit and go, well, if it was me, well, and I was my kid, well, then I would do it like this. Just so you guys know that are young people out here that have parents, this is the first generation in history that thought it was a good idea to critique the way their parents did it. First time ever that people decided, I think I'm qualified to judge the way my parents parented me. And you know why that's true now? Because of the audience. That's why it's true. Because there's an audience of teachers and counselors and therapists that have told people that their parents aren't doing it right. And so now kids all over the world are going, well, my therapist says my mom isn't doing it right. Well, wait till you do it. Like I said, I hope to treat my son the way I talked about tonight. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off because, there's things in the way. Like giving in. Like maybe his relentless crying. Like maybe, maybe I've softened and I have to let little Art get his way. And maybe I become the exact opposite of everything that I'm saying. And maybe I'll be the biggest enabler that there is. But I won't be irresponsible. But I won't be an innocent bystander. I'll know my role. I'll know my part. I'll know what happened here. I'm going to sit and watch it calmness and give my pain up. I'm not going to act from it. I'm going to give it up to God and say, God, how do you want me to be? And I'm going to try. We live in a war now. It's like no one's ever seen before. Helping people get better is at an all-time difficulty. It's at a difficulty level that a lot of times I want to quit. I want to quit because when I gently mention to somebody that maybe they're behaving poorly that comes to the program, the defensiveness is outrageous. The justifications are outrageous. The hardness and the audience for people to turn on me and say, can you believe this guy? Can you believe how he treats me? I've often asked a lot of people in this program when they feel mistreated by me. I always say this. Can you name one person other than you that I've ever mistreated? And their answer is always no. And I go, so it's just you. Or maybe you're not seeing it right. Maybe it's not just you. Maybe you're just not taking responsibility. And it's tough. And everyone knows it's trying to put pressure on somebody. We do have some problem here. We have people that need to get better. And then we have people that don't. And the lines are getting blurred between the people that need to get better. And just so you know, if you're a person who needs to get better, for sure, one of the ways that you would know is that you're dependent on the people that you think need to get better. So the way that you know that you need to get better is that you're dependent upon people that you're saying need to get better. That's the way you know. And the way you know that you might not be the person that needs to get better is that you're independent. It's just a suspicious clue. Okay. So we have to look at it. Because a lot of times people are in a disagreement with me. I feel that people in my program need to get better. They sometimes feel I need to get better. So we're in a disagreement. I tell them they need to get better. They go, I don't think you're doing it right, Art. Oh, the war will make you want to quit. I know a lot of you got one addict in your family, or maybe two. And you're in a war. Well, we're in a war with 40 at a time. And the war is getting more difficult. And it's because of this audience that listens to people, this belief system, that somehow my feelings aren't my fault. Somehow the pain that other people is providing on me is too much and I'm innocent. And so what we can do is we can see that the people that give that an audience are sick. That's who's sick. The people that take advantage of people that are struggling and move the money to perpetuity of struggle to say that we now have to fund this person's life because they're too sick to get better. These are the people that are killing us. These are our opposition. It's like your Aunt Linda that took in your addict kid and said, if he comes with me, he'll learn to get better. And you knew, oh, Linda, wait till you see. Wait till you see what happens. Or your grandparents or whoever decided that your kid was sick and then they would take him in and they would get him better. Whoever decided to do that, that's your opposition. And they'll come back on your team after they spend a little time with your kid. They'll call, get him out of here. What the hell? Okay. That's a long way to say, guys. I'm in a lot of pain and I feel a lot of, and my life's not my fault. Can you give me a, can I get a collective? Oh, yeah. Thank you. Nah. Max needs one too. Max, can we give Max a, oh, yeah. Stop trying to have an audience for your complaints. If you got a friend and you vent to him, that ain't a friend. I know people think that is. The friend is the guy that you don't like to call when things aren't going your way. That's the friend. The friend is the person that'll tell you the truth. The friend will tell you the truth and say, in the relationship I have with you, you're a nightmare. And you're probably a nightmare in the relationship you're talking about right now. That's a friend. A friend might let you think is that kind ear. No, that ain't helping you. Now it might help to vent. It might help to get it off your chest, but it ain't going to help you get any better. That ain't going to do nothing. You're going to continue that process. So the friend that you've been venting to for 20 years, you still vent to them. And you've never gotten better because of that friend. And then maybe you're so mad that you're not validated anymore. Maybe you stop calling that friend because it didn't work anymore. But definitely you stop calling people that say, hey, listen, I deal with you all the time. You're not that easy. Click. It's like that old thing when your wife comes home from work. She don't want no solutions. She wants to tell you all the problems, but she don't want no solutions. And then we're stupid as men and we come up with solutions. I'm not talking to you no more. That's how it is. I don't like when I'm venting and my friends come up with a solution. Yeah. Back to little Art. Can you believe that little guy? Did you see? You guys probably didn't see it, but his right hand, he had a pencil. He was making a to-do list. I mean, this dude is so tired of sitting in there. He's like, when's this shit getting to get over? I got shit to do. Right on the top of the list. He was like, help the humans. I was like, all right, dude. You want to start right away? Okay, I get it.
When's his due date?
April 7th.
April, but I don't think he's gonna want to wait. He's Yeah, I think, he's not the type to wait. It might be February. I mean, yeah.
Wants to be the
Yes.
Oh, they're fine. He'll figure that out later.
That's his first page.
Yeah. I think the saddest part about human beings, and this is truly what I believe. You see, as I sit here today and I talk to you, the reason I'm talking to you is because I want what's inside me to come out in the world, and I want people to deem it good. Now I'll take that risk for the people who don't like it. I'll risk it. And I'll put it out there, because if one person or two people or three people tells me it's good, I feel really good. And I want to know that I matter. And I want to be able to love people. And those are what I want. And because I know that's what I want, I can properly figure out how to get it. You see, I can do that. But the saddest part about humans is they become a clever strategy. They start doing weird things like going to the barber and getting a haircut, and they want their hair to validate them. And then they go get a car and they want their car to validate them. And then they get a home and they want their home to validate them. So they want weird things. They want to look good. And they say they do weird things, like they complain to look good. Like that's powerful and that means something. So they try to look good by showing their knowledge that they can destroy something, showing their knowledge that they know what's wrong. So people now try to look good by complaining. They try to say, listen, look at how smart I am. I can tell you what's wrong with the Republicans. Look at how smart I am. I can tell you what's wrong with the Democrats. But you're not smart. You're not validating yourself, and you're not getting it done. You're not self-expressing, and you're not contributing to the world. But you're relieving your pain, and you're doing this. And you're doing it because you really want to be validated, but you won't admit it. And worse than that, the worse than that is the sadness to say that that's not what I want. How sad it is that a human being would say, I don't care what people think about me. How sad is that? I thought the saddest thing, because I care deeply what people think about me. I don't go crazy with it, but man, do I want humans to like me. Man, do I care what they think about me. Man, it's important that I put something out in the world and people say it's good. And then I get the comments and someone says it's good. I love that. I love it. I love it when people say I'm good. And I hate it when people say I'm bad. It sucks. It sucks. And when they say I'm bad, I truly want to change their opinion. I work for it. And I'll continue to work for it. And I think the saddest thing ever is people that don't admit that they want that. So now you're going to spend your whole life not admitting that you want love, not admitting that you want what's inside you to be deemed good by the world, and not trying to matter. And worse than that, everyone's too cool. I don't care if I matter. I don't care if I make a difference. It's none of my business. I'll just sit over here. Then what? And what? You'll just not participate because you're too cool, and then what? You'll just sit over here at your job and not make a difference and just go to work every day and complain about it, and then what? And then you'll not want to matter to your family, and you'll go and complain about them, and then what? What comes about? Well, don't you want it other than that? Don't you want to love your family deeply? Don't you want to leave everything on the court? See, when I'm done, I want to be used up. I want everything inside here out to the world. I don't want nothing left. I want the world to use me up. Just use me up. I'm not going to save nothing. I'm not going to hold nothing back. And it's painful to be used up. It's painful to give everything and say, I want everything in here. I want you to see it. And I want to matter to you. And I want you to love me. And I'm sorry I got to say that, but I do. And I ain't too cool for school. And I'm not saying, man, I don't care what those people think of my group. I care. I see the most harmful words is seeing people saying other people's opinion of me is none of my business. Really? Would a chef say that? Would an architect say that? Would any form of self-expression say that? Would a comedian say that? I don't care if any of these people like my jokes. No, they go back to the drawing board. They get better. They come back with more stuff. They deem it to the world. Every actor, every job, everything. Every person that cleaned their desk today says, I'm cleaning it off because I want to look organized for the world. Every person that mowed their lawn today said, look at my lawn, world. I care what you think. Every person that went and got a haircut, went and got it and said, I wonder what they're gonna think when I leave here today. I wonder if someone will compliment me. Everyone on a car lot today bought a car and said, I wonder what they're gonna think of my car. Everyone gets money and says, I wonder what they think when they find out how much money I got. Every person, they get that new car, they drive it over to their friends, they're gonna know now. Before I got this car, they didn't know how cool I was, but wait till I drive up. They're gonna see me. Everything we're doing is for the love of other humans. That's why we do it. And if you don't want to admit that to yourself, then you're never gonna get it. You're never gonna get the full extent of giving the world everything. I'm gonna let my son know how much he wants love, how much he wants to be validated. And I'm gonna show him, please, this is the proper way to do it, son. Show this world what you got inside of you and never, never, never stop at complaint. Because when you hit complaint, power's right on the other side of it. Right there. Stop relieving your pain by not being responsible. Go right to the other side and get a strategy to fix it and change the world. And he's going to face a lot of pressure, and there's going to be a lot of complaints when there's pressure. But if he goes right above it, and right when that complaint comes up, he goes to his higher power and says, how do you want me to be? Then he can walk forward to the world and not be a victim. And he can just say, what do I do next? What do I do next? And he can change the world. But he's going to have to be powerful. And to be powerful, you got to handle pain. And you got to go right out beyond it. And for us in our relationships, we got to go right. Every person in this room, in your relationships, you got to go right beyond that complaint and ask yourself, how do I be? How do I be here? How do I love this person? How do I do it? Not how do they love me? How do I love them? And if we all did that, we can stop being validated by our complaints. We can start actually getting serious about getting the stuff inside of us used up by the world. That's just what I'm here for. And I hope if I don't ever, my son is in the Ukraine, so I got to go get him. Maybe I don't make it. Maybe me and Angie get taken out in the war. But here's the deal. I want him to have this video tonight. And I want him to see this video, and I want him to take everything his dad said. And I want him to understand. Never stop at complaint, son. Learn to handle your pain. Be able to go out on beyond it and be a human being that doesn't get validated by that. And never, never search for that audience that'll listen to your sob story, because they're dangerous. They're dangerous. There's no one more dangerous than a person that'll listen to a sob story. They're hurtful and they're dangerous, because once you empower that, once you validate that, that person will go on for it to happen again. They'll want another sob story so that they can go back and get the validation. They will want another one and another one and another one. And notice the people that you know that you have a sob story. The people you know that have a sob story, notice you could call them right now and get their current one. Right now, you could call them and say, who's screwing you in your life right now? And they will tell you. 100%. We could do it on speakerphone right here. And you all know who I'm talking about. And the most dangerous thing you could do is be an audience to that. And if that's the only way you need to know how to show how that you care, figure out a new way. Because there's no wisdom in it. All right, if there's any comments or questions, comments, thoughts, we have a few minutes, we could just.
And those of you at home too, we got 15 minutes left, so if there's anybody new here, new out there, we'd love to say hello as well. Got comments, questions, all of it is welcome.
In our relationships, we're not giving everything we got. We're saving something. We're saving.
Well, Art, I'd like to say, don't give up. Don't give up doing, even if it's bullshit. Don't give up doing the bullshit that you've been doing.
Yeah.
Because I've got 10 years here at Battlefield, so I think I have a clear voice to speak on at times, but I can tell you that 29 years ago, when I became a widow, I thought being a good parent was I need to absorb my kids' pain. They're the victim, they lost their dad, life sucks, let me absorb it. Let me become this parent by absorbing everything they do wrong and I'll fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I became the absorber and the fixer. And then they'd go to school and some shit would happen and then they'd say, call my mom, she'll fix it. And then they'd
Yeah.
call me and I'd say, well, you can't kick my kid out, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna absorb the pain. Next thing you know, I got the neighbor kids calling me and everybody's like, call Miss Raybell, she'll fix it, she'll. fix it."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I have a $100 moment maybe, and they call me and say, your kid overflowed all the toilets in the bathroom today, and I'd say, you know what, don't call me at work, give him a goddamn sponge, have him clean up the mess.
Yeah.
And my train would be on track. But then all of a sudden, I'd fall back off and I'd be this absorber and the fix it, and I derail my train. And next thing you know, I'm back just sucking it all in, fixing everything. They call me, oh, your kid went behind a bar in a pub and he stole 2 gallons of booze and then he poured everybody drinks. And I'd say, let me pay the bar tab. It's all gonna be good. Let me absorb it. Let me fix it.
Mhm.
Let me enable it. When they wanted to have a party room, shit, I fucking built it, decorated it, set it all up. I gave them the coolest place to go over and
Everyone here is like, why wasn't this my mom?
until I, over 10
Wait,
years ago.
everyone's in here like, not seeing the problem here.
And my train would be going down the track and next thing you know, it got derailed and I wouldn't know, and I'd like stuff and all that. Let me absorb the pain. Let me handle it for you. I got you. I'm enabling you.
Mhm.
I painted the other wall another color now. I added some new things. And then I went to an Art Darling meeting. And then that's when I told you before, I went home and I walked in my house and I had 25 people passed out in my house on the floor. Kids puked on the couch and they throw the cushion over this way. And I lost control. And I tore everything up and I damn near burnt the house down. And they all freaked out and said to my kids, what the hell happened to your mom?
Yeah,
Oh
she's
my
went
God.
crazy.
Jesus,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and
yeah.
I took a 4-foot bong and I smacked it up. And I my whole house smelled so much like bong water. I gave away the furniture. I didn't have to for 2 years. And you know what my kid said? She went to a meeting. She went to a meeting and.
I remember that one. I was
Yeah.
teaching people to smash bongs.
No. It's like, I'm gonna, you know, and I was, at that moment, my train got back on track and I wasn't an enabler for that short period of time, because I was learning. Your stuff teaches people. It might come in sections, it might come in segments, it might not be easy at first, it might not last a long time.
No, I think,
But it
I don't even
works.
think, you know, Renee, most of my stuff doesn't really teach. It gives permission.
It
To-
gave me something.
It gave
and
you
that's what I'm
permission.
trying to
I
tell
think,
you.
to be honest, I mean, everyone knows, all families, all parents know what they should do.
Yeah.
They all know what they should do, and that's where it gets tough, is that, you know, it's tough seeing our loved ones in pain. And that's what I'm talking about right now. My ability to see my kid in pain is gonna be directly related to how good he is, like how good he is at handling pain. It's not his problem, it's gonna be mine. How much can I take? You know, how much can I take of him being mad at me? How much can I take of him not liking me at the current moment? How much can I take? And I
Well,
hope,
I didn't know what to do, Art,
I
and
hope-
there were times where I didn't, but I can tell you that 10 years of battlefield, 10 years of you doing your thing, 10 years of this family coming together, years of Angie helping us and doing the things, this works.
Mhm.
So don't quit, don't ever quit, don't let the bullshitters
Yeah.
out bullshit you. Just let us keep showing up
Yeah.
and keep doing what you're doing, because first of all, whatever doesn't happen with your son, you got a huge family now to help put that in perspective.
well, I'm sure he can probably, you know, it'll be easy for him
But
to run
you are doing incredible work,
out.
and I'm a reflection of that along with all these people here, so
Thank you, man.
keep it up.
And Art, I'm Roxy, Ray's best friend,
Yeah,
and she's been asking me to come to meetings for quite some time.
And I finally said, you ain't gonna, you're not
So he's not a bullshitter. he'll tell you.
And that was
Exactly
the exact
how it
words
is.
I
I said, I
said.
love it, I come here and your speech took me home. really,
She said, oh, I can't go to the meeting, I gotta get ready for Thanksgiving, you know what I said? Bitch, you get your ass.
That's right.
Sorry.
But we speak the truth to each other, Ray and I.
Yeah.
So
If I
she's
don't
here
like what
tonight.
she's done,
Yeah.
you know, I'll let her know, and she'll get my opinion and vice versa, but I have 3 boys, and the baby has been the youngest one had been dealing with depression, and had been staying with, Ray for a while with his daughter, and he has a second chance. Almost died.
Yeah, I heard.
Ray's daughter had cut the rope and hung himself within minutes, so he has a second chance.
Hmm.
And we got him out Sunday, and every day he's been calling me, and because I was pretty strict as a mother, but then I let my guard down some of the times. 3 boys, a handful, but it's more with the youngest one, the depression. The other kids, you know, they always knew they were accountable for their actions. You know, I mean, I was the type that would go into the store when they were little. And you guys whine, we're dropping groceries, and guess what? You need cereal, go to bed early.
Yeah.
You know, and I know sometimes it's tough, and especially with them when they're whining and they want everything.
I'm just gonna have little Archie the shopping. I'm not even gonna go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But,
Yeah.
She's gonna make an appointment to come and sit down and see you guys, and this is her first time being here.
yeah,
And I think you're, well, I'd put you in the car anyway, but it don't matter. But I think you're brave for coming out here tonight and opening up about it, and you're in the right place. That's what I can tell you.
thank you, yeah,
Yes, we're gonna schedule a consultation for sure.
yeah.
All right,
So it's tough to see them go through.
I can be a bitch, but my bladder don't like it.
Oh, yes.
Yes, Kendall. Yeah. Yes. I know.
What was even more is like going back out and hearing you in my head. Noise, but,
Yeah.
but, I'm here now, and I don't need you.
Well, and you know why that is,
Yeah,
because you're getting more responsible for your life. And you weren't ready to take on, when I met you, you weren't ready to take on any responsibility yet. And you didn't like it when I pushed those buttons. And now you are. And, you know, and that's the whole war of helping people. I was in a war with you, and I had to be in a place where I was okay if you were upset with me, because I couldn't lie to you. I couldn't give you that ear, because how would I have helped, you know? And you going away and you learning the more lessons and coming back. Kendall, it's beautiful. And it's beautiful to watch you take responsibility. It's beautiful to watch you and your mother, and, you know, it just can't be true. Like, things happen in our relationships, they happen. But the responsibility part, to be responsible for a relationship, what that means is that I am responsible for making it better. It doesn't mean about anything that happened. It means that it's on me to make the relationship better. That's it. That's what being responsible means. It means I have to participate in making it better. Now, most people, a lack of responsibility, it simply means when they change, I'll change. And that's, you know, kind of the stance people take. And we have to get to a place where we understand that we have to be this observer ourselves and have power and be able to look at how we need to change to make the things happen that we want in these relationships. And kind of, you know, really look at ourselves. And that's our power position, this responsibility. The responsible party in a relationship is not the party that can look at the other person and figure out what they do wrong. The responsible party is the person who can look at themselves and figure out what they do wrong. That's who's bigger. That's who's more powerful. And so I always have a hard time wondering why people don't want to be the powerful person. I have a really hard time understanding, why wouldn't you want to be the powerful one? Why wouldn't you want to look at how you could change and make it better rather than complaining about how they need to make it better? I don't understand. And the reason, just so you know, the reason that I don't want to be the powerful person that makes a change is there's no validation in that. So the reason is someone wants to say, I want to be this person that complains and says the other person needs to change. But really, the problem isn't that person, it's the audience that listens. And so, given an audience, now that person can go blame and validate for the poor relationship on someone else. And it's the audience that's the problem. It's the empowerment of that. Now, what if you had trouble in your relationships and every time you talk to every human on earth, they said, you need to go change? Well, that's what we would do. That's how we would get validation then. We would now go back and go, okay, I need to change. And then we'd come back and we go, I fixed it. And the audience would go, congratulations. You see, but we have it opposite. This relationship sucks and it's not my fault. Who's going to listen? Then somebody listens, and then we keep doing that in our relationships because somebody will listen. And that's what's happening right now. And so it's the audience that's saying, hey, it's the audience that believes somehow that a human being has made it to earth and they aren't the responsible party for their own outcomes. It's that audience. And that audience is doing that because they're sick. That audience is doing it because they don't feel good about themselves to be mad, to have someone mad at them. They don't feel good about themselves to help somebody else in pain. They don't feel healthy enough to say, hey, grow up, kiddo. It ain't that way. Hey, grow up, kiddo. You're a nightmare. Look at yourself. See, that takes health. It don't take nothing to go, oh, and agree with people that say that they don't have it right. And so we have this empowerment. And then I'll give you on a grand scale, and that's the last thing I'll probably talk about tonight. But on a grand scale, there's been a power shift. So we had people that were sick in Seattle, and we had people that will help them. And the way every single person helped those people in Seattle that were sick was they held them responsible for their life, no matter if they were or not. That's how everyone used to help. Then what happened is a group of people decided that helping is listening to their sad story. When that happened, all the money got shifted. So in our state, all the money is shifted, and the people in power that are helping people by telling them that they don't need to get better. And that's what happened. And until we shift the money to people that won't listen to those stories, we're always going to be in trouble. And that's where we're at. We're empowering, and now the people that are needing help, they're coming to get help. But by the time they finally come to get help, nothing is their responsibility. And now we can't help them anymore. So now we're in danger of actually ruining our society. And I don't know how you come back from it. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for hearing me.
Next week, we're back here. So the first and the third Tuesday of the month. So this was an odd week, so tomorrow or next week we'll be back. So next week, everybody. See you moms in the morning, 11 a.m. Thanks, everybody. Next night.